We're live.
Good afternoon.
Hi.
Happy Wednesday, goddess.
Happy Wednesday.
Grateful to be here as always.
Always. Yeah. Gonna have to take a couple of Wednesdays off to
Yes.
have fun.
We have some things that we have going on. So this will be our last goddess chat until the end of August. But we will be back. But for today, we're going to have a lovely chat about our goddess divine feminine aspect of the week. And
Sarah,
hope that you find some inspiration out of her. We are, well, I can speak for myself. I was very inspired because it really spoke to my heart. But we'll talk more about that in a moment.
Yeah. I'll just read from the book a little bit about who Sarah Lakali was and is, the queen of the outsiders.
Mm-hmm.
And she has 3 legends, 3 personas. So she's often thought of in 3 different ways. And you can, whatever resonates with you, or you can make up your own legend about her. That's the beautiful thing about these people, whatever they have that resonates with you. But the first is that she was a charitable noblewoman who collected alms for the poor in the south of France. And she had a vision that the female saints who were present at Jesus' death would arrive at their shores. And when they did, Saint Sarah was the first so lovingly welcomed them with open arms. And then the second, they called the Golden Legend from the third. That was like in year 42 that first one was. Then fast forward to the 13th century, would be the 1200s. Saint Sarah arrived with the 3 Marys, Mary Magdalene, Mother Mary, and Mary of Bethany. That's another one to explore. She was one of their slaves, and she's said to be an Egyptian, very beautiful, endowed with healing power. So she seems like a healer. And then the third, which really intrigues me, essentially, is that she is the daughter of Jesus and Mary Magdalene, and that they raised her and they empowered her and with the ministry of love. So she was that embodiment of that Christ consciousness love and what we've studied with Mary Magdalene and her infinite love. So that just kind of describes who she is. And then her message is, no matter who you are or where you are, Saint Sarah's love is the kind that reaches you. There's nothing you need to perfect or prove. There's nothing you need to wait to become. There's only the deep abiding truth that love is not outside of you. You are never an outsider to love. You are love.
Yes, that really struck me as well. I think I used that in our introduction post because it was a very powerful statement.
Yeah. And just when I just read that, it made me think of a lot of women, a lot of humans, these spiritual beings in human form are searching for love. And in all the wrong places.
Right.
Well, maybe if I do this or I become this or be a part of, or eventually when I, whatever, then I will find the love that when we come to the realization, there is nothing to do. There's nothing to become.
Because you already are.
You are. You are. And that's not to say that we don't want to be a better version of ourselves or anything. There's always that to aspire to, but you're fine where you are.
You're perfect exactly where you are. And I think that is I think of Bridget Jones' Diary.
Oh yeah.
And the end when he comes and says, I love you just as you are.
Just as you are.
And that was such a powerful moment for me at that point in my life. I was much younger, not very aware of my truth, just kind of plodding along through this 3D world, believing all the things
Yeah.
And so one of the things that I struggled with was accepting myself exactly as I was.
Mhm.
And so that moment, and granted it was coming from a character and outside of the person, and what we're talking about is finding that within ourselves.
Right.
But that was a moment for me of awakening, of being like, gosh, I need to maybe like me just the way I am. And
Yeah.
throughout my 30s, early 40s, there was a lot of push, pull, and struggle around some of the mind games that I have going on around my body.
Mhm.
And that was the thing about that movie, is that statement that was made was because she was just an average girl. Like, she wasn't a, some crazy supermodel, super thin,
Right.
whatever. She
Right.
was just an average girl, and I loved that. And then that became something that I held close to my heart. So in recent years, there has been a lot of awareness around acceptance and love of all of me. And I'm not just talking about the physical body. I am talking about my emotional self. I am talking about the fact that I can be really loud and rambunctious, and I can also be really quiet and reserved. I'm
Mhm.
talking about having relationships with um, women and men, but for me, it really was kind of this my female relationships that struggled from my upbringing. But
Mhm.
so cultivating these really authentic and real relationships with people where I have been accepted exactly as I show up each day.
Right. However you show up.
Exactly. And the relationships that I have in my life now are so true to that. Like, we
Mhm.
talk about, and I say we because there's a whole community of people that I've had different conversations with, and sometimes we're all together having those conversations, but
Mhm.
it's the I'm too much. So then you feel kind of like outside,
Mhm.
the clique, the popular people, right?
Right, right. You're too much, you're too sensitive. That's
Mm-hmm.
what I was
Yeah, me too.
always told.
Yeah.
Yet the paradigm of the or the and the flip side, I was always seen as the peacemaker.
Uh-huh.
And
Yep.
to be the peacemaker, I had to be sensitive. I had to like
Mm-hmm.
tune in to everybody's
Yep.
energy and try to
Yep.
find a way to make the peace.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
it's like,
Well,
well, what
right.
am I supposed to
Yeah.
do
Yeah.
here?
Yeah. And for me, it was I was someplace that everybody came and dropped all their stuff. Let me give you all my problems.
Yeah.
But when I had one, it was too much.
Mhm.
So ultimately, the relationships that weren't in alignment with my higher self began to shift out. And
Mhm.
then there's these relationships that entered.
Mhm.
And let me tell you, that process of that shift was very hard for me. I had to be alone for a while, and that was hard. So there
Mhm.
was a period of time where I kind of cocooned myself and just said, I'm going to just stay in this safe little bubble
Right.
and do my work and find my truths, so that when I do step outside of that, I can radiate out the vibration of what I really want to have in my life.
Mhm.
So if you're in a life experience where you're being told you're too much, or I can't hang out with you because you seem to always have these high emotions, or I don't know, maybe it's not any of that. Maybe it's just that you're leaned upon and you don't feel like you have anybody to lean back upon.
Mhm.
Um, that for me, I can only talk to my own experience in that, was the signs that something wasn't right.
Mhm.
And so Spirit actively moved a few things around. The divine said, okay, it's time to shake things up, and it's going to be really uncomfortable, honey. And it took about 3 years of layers of processing for me to be okay with the fact that my too much for somebody was just enough for someone else.
Right. Or that you find the people that
Mm-hmm.
are willing, or they have the awareness to hold space for that.
Right.
Like, okay, there is Ramona who's out there coming out, and yay. But if Ramona needs to show up a little quieter and more
or drowning in tears.
Yeah, or, that we hold space for all of that. And you want to be the friend that you would want to have. Right. And first of all, be that friend to yourself. Give yourself that grace. Exactly. That's a word that I've been really aligning with these days. And everything I'm doing, I'm giving myself the grace. If I'm not getting it all done, it's okay.
Yeah.
No, nobody's died because you didn't get your to-do list done.
Right.
And that you can't be there for that person at that time because you can't. And you have to give yourself the grace too.
Yeah. Well, so where I think that this ties back into our divine feminine, Sarah Lakali, is this. If you feel like you're an outsider, if you feel like you haven't found your tribe, keep doing the work, friends. Keep remembering that you are loved. Keep loving yourself so much that then the vibration that you radiate out returns those people that will accept you exactly where you are. And I think that that's kind of the whole point here that I was making with my experience, is that it wasn't that I like cocooned myself and, shedded all these relationships and then like just magically sure back up and met new people. It was what was I doing to love myself? What was it that I needed from these relationships that I wasn't getting, that Spirit said, we're going to move these out of the way so that you have to just do that for you.
Yeah, and you give others permission to feel that way too.
Yeah.
That you struggle with, I would struggle with body issues, or that I'm too sensitive, or when you express that, then it's like, yeah, me too. I feel like that sometimes too.
And then we can raise each other up, and we can hold this loving space for each other to be exactly where we are. And I will tell you, it took me some time, and I can honestly say that I fell in love with myself over the last 5 years. And that's pretty magical. And that's not an egotistical fall in love with myself is what I'm saying here. What I'm saying is I just had this love journey with me, because then I'm whole. I'm complete. And nothing outside of me can do that for me. The experiences I have outside of myself are then just this like cherry on the top of the sundae.
Right.
Like this, like, whoo, I get this one beautiful like cherry, or 15 of them. I don't know, whatever. Because
it's like you have that ice cream cone, and they like give you way more than will fit in the cone. And you're like, let me give me
exactly.
There's more to eat there.
Yeah. So my feeling is, and the reason I really resonated with this message from her was that I have had that experience. I've had that experience of feeling left behind. I've had that experience of feeling like I wasn't good enough, or that I was too much, or that, I just run people off. Like that absolutely was a paradigm that I lived in I believe that. I don't need more. There was a point in time about 2 years ago where I had about 5 different people, friends of mine, students of mine, send me this meme that they found. And so namaste, the light in me loves, honors, and cherishes the light in you, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so they sent me this meme, and it was just funny because it came from so many different people.
The same one?
Yeah.
Oh.
And it was the freaking light in me is so amazing, and is so is something I can't remember it now. All of a sudden it just slipped my brain. But there was this like, is so freaking amazing is the piece that really was important out of that.
Right.
And I was like, yeah, because I'm freaking awesome. That's what it was. It was something like, I'm freaking awesome.
Right.
But it wasn't an egotistical thing. It was a celebration of the love that I have for myself.
Mm-hmm.
And my work now is to hopefully inspire that same feeling in others, that they are so freaking awesome, like that their lives are a representation of this love journey they've been on with themselves.
Yeah.
And we just forgot that we're love. We just forgot it. And that's why we come into the 3D plane, right? We come into this experience to be challenged, to have to find our way back home. You know, that's one of the quotes, Ram Dass, we're just walking each other home, right?
Right.
I love that, because home is that place, that purest place within you that knows that it's love, and it doesn't have to be convinced. It doesn't have this ego mind telling it otherwise. Yeah. Instead, it's just truth. We are love. We are meant to be in peace. Mm-hmm. And that's why for me, I know for watching Paige, I think that this aligns for you as well. When I go to the beach, when I go into the mountains and go hiking, when I find myself in nature and all of the noise of life has shifted out of my purview, like it's not right here in front of me and I'm dealing with it every day. Mm-hmm. That is when I can really sense that my true essence is pure love. Yeah, because I'm in communion with my true nature.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think we talked about this before. The tree doesn't think about, why am I not something else? Why am I not a waterfall? Because waterfalls are beautiful. Or, or the frog is not sitting there thinking, why am I not an eagle? You know, that you are
You are exactly
made, and you're where you're supposed to be.
Yep. And you are so unique and important. What you bring into the world is so important, because no one else can do it but you.
Right. Even when you think, oh, I can't do that because everybody's doing that. Well, nobody does it
the way you do it.
The way you do.
Because you have been organically created to be the channel for that love. And again, because we're love, what's channeled through from spirit is just a ray of love. Whatever that ray might be aligning with, it still comes back to love.
Yeah, well, this may or may not resonate, but I was just on a call earlier for some group business coaching, and we were talking about our elevator pitch and how you used to have this formula, how you would describe yourself and your business and all of this. And one guy said, yeah, he actually made a formula for his coaching clients. So just fill in the blanks and go in. And he realized that is so inauthentic. It's it doesn't work. And I was like, well, I just tell my story. I just say, this is what happened to me,
Mhm.
and I would love for it to happen to you.
Yep.
And that's what I do.
Yep.
And I was just, and they were like, Paige, that's so authentic. That's just,
Yeah.
I mean, and I went, yeah, because
Yes, goddess. Yes, goddess. Yes, goddess. And
You know,
we figured some of those things out together, like, and not just
Yeah.
yours, not just your understanding of that, mine. Like when we met, I had just started my coaching. Paige was
Yeah.
one of the first 5 people I worked with.
Yeah,
Maybe
I was the
even
challenge.
one of the first 3. No, you were not. Maybe
So I
even
like,
one of the first
oh.
3. I don't know. But it was in that realm where I was like, this is really like important work what we're doing here.
Yeah.
And so to that point, that's exactly what I cultivated through my work, was that each person I'm dealing with is different. You can't like come in and be like, this is the formula. Now, do I have a foundation program that I want you to learn because I feel like you need to pick up some information so that we can speak a language that we both understand? Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely. But that doesn't mean that when we're working together that I can take the same approach with this person that I take with this person. If I do that, then it's kind of the way I've always felt as a massage therapist. Like it's not a cookie cutter session. You don't just, every session is different. And so why is every session different? So going back to that, you are the channel for unconditional love, right? It's because spirit was always working through me. I just didn't know it.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, when I started releasing massage therapy as my primary source of work, there was a lot of clients that were like, but you're so good. And I'm like, yeah, but the problem is I'm not grounded and I'm hurting myself by doing this work because it's not in alignment with my purpose and higher good. And that was a real hard thing to come to.
It had been.
It had been. It was the pathway that got me to where I am now. But now Spirit is saying to me, this is how we want you to do this. So it's time to shift gears, honey.
Mm-hmm.
And so we did, or I did. I say we because I talk about my spirit and my guides, and we're all doing this together. We're co-creating my life together, right?
Right.
But there is something so true in the fact that Spirit's always been with you.
Mm-hmm.
We just had to wake up. And that's what she's here to tell us. Remember that you are love. Remember that you are love. And obviously this Dex especially seems to really settle into that message.
Right.
I feel like with each of the goddesses we've been working with since we picked up this deck, that is really the core value of this author's perspective.
Well, I mean, and she is the last one in our book.
Right. Before the egg.
Which embodies it all. But there's definitely that theme and in different ways that it manifests and all that. And that's the divine feminine goddess that we carry within us.
Yeah. So goddesses, this is what we want you to know. At least I think this is what I want you to know. I won't speak for Paige.
That's okay.
She may or may not agree. I don't know. You are love. We honor you. We see you. We hear you exactly where you are. And we love you for being your purest, most authentic, amazing self. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for sharing your vibrations with us. You inspire us. And
you're freaking awesome.
And you're freaking awesome.
Amazing.
This was a great chat to have right before our sabbatical.
I know. So we're going to commune in nature.
Yes, we're going to restore, renew, and open up to the inspirations that Spirit almost always shares with us whenever we take time for ourselves.
Yeah, and I hope that you goddesses are out there listening, watching, will do the same. Maybe this week be inspired, or whenever you're watching this, to take take some time out in
Mhm.
nature and feel that
Remember.
love.
Yeah, remember the love.
Remember the love.
Remember.
Yeah.
Be the love. Be what you truly are meant to be.
That's right. Yes. God.
Okay,
has.
dear.
Oh,
So I will we will see you in a couple of weeks.
that's right.
Until then, we will continue to offer inspirations. For the post, we'll have
Oh yeah, we'll
3
still
more
be on.
goddesses that will be presented the next couple of weeks, but we just won't be joining you on Wednesdays for our chat. So
Yeah.
we will
but-
return on August 25th, I believe, is the date that we will be doing.
Yeah, and as always, when you hop on the Facebook group, if there's something that resonates with you or you want to share, please do. This is we do this together, and
Yes.
we love to hear people's experiences and get questions and all of that. But we do this together.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
All right, friends, have a beautiful rest of your day, and we will see you at the end of August.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye. Namaste.
Namaste. Okay.